This is a CTV News special presentation. Public safety, rising taxes, and affordable housing. Today's election is about far more than just who's mayor. Coming up, the winners, the losers, and the implications for Calgary.
Hello and thank you for joining us. I'm Tara Nelson. The polls closed 3 hours ago and the results are now coming in. There is still no clear winner, though, in the 2025 municipal election. Here are the latest results in the mayor's race tonight. They show Jeremy Farcus in the lead. Only about 40% of polls are reporting so far. Sonia Sharp is sitting in second place. She's about 600 votes behind, and incumbent Jyoti Gondek is sitting in third. Now, this is the second time Jeremy Farcus is running for mayor. In 2021, after serving as a councillor, he ran for mayor, placing second behind Jyoti Gondek. Terry Fikowski is at the Farcus headquarters tonight. And Terry, I suspect there is some cautious optimism in the room there tonight.
Tara, that is a really good way to put it. The excitement is building, but certainly it is cautious excitement. Lots of cheers as the results are displayed on the screen as they come down. And perhaps cheering the loudest is Jeremy Farcus's family. And I'm joined by two members now. Peter, Jeremy's father, and Sylvia, Jeremy's sister. So first and foremost, as those results come in, what does it mean to you to see your son in the lead early so far?
I'm very, very proud of my son. My son is a true Calgarian, and Calgary can be very, very pleased with the results Jeremy will bring to the city.
Now, Jeremy and his campaign credits you a lot for his story in Calgary. You came in the 1950s from communist Hungary as a refugee. So what does it mean to see your son returning to seek the position of mayor into a city that has welcomed you?
He makes me very, very proud, and I'm very proud of Calgary, Alberta, and Jeremy can help and do whatever he can. He's a very, very hard worker.
And Sylvia, you guys have been here before. Of course, 2021, things not going your brother's way. But he actually has said in the past that that was perhaps one of the best things that happened to him because he had so much to learn and then went on these treks and to just grow and build. So why is he ready to be Calgary's mayor now?
Well, I think it's just who he is. It's his passion. It's always been kind of what's part of him, and he's just genuine in his reason for wanting to be mayor. He's definitely in this for all the right reasons. His heart's in the right place. I don't even want to say smart, he's brilliant. He is so focused on Calgary and Calgarians, and he's just got an incredible work. And I think he just can't help himself, so.
All right. Well, we'll let you guys get back to cheering. They definitely were cheering the loudest in the corner. Thank you so much for the words tonight. We appreciate it.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Tara, we'll send it back to you in studio, but certainly, like you said, cautious optimism here as Jeremy Farcus so far in the lead in this race.
Okay, Terry Fikowski reporting. Terry, thank you. We'll check back in. Now, Elections Calgary says over 202,000 people cast ballots today, while 46% of voting stations reported wait times of 20 minutes or less. Many Calgarians found themselves in line for over an hour to cast their ballots. Stephanie Thomas joins us from outside the Big Four building at Stampede Park tonight. And Stephanie, the counting of the mayoral advance votes is underway there tonight.
Right, Tara. The returning officer says the counting will be happening here in this building behind me until 1 a.m. But it won't be until tomorrow night that the advance vote counts for councillor and school board trustee is expected to be done. Now, Elections Calgary and municipalities around the province were warned that there would be delays for this election cycle because of changes made by the provincial government. Now let's begin with some long lines that we saw at a number of voting stations throughout the city. A new provincial requirement means every voter has to fill out a statement of eligibility form. It's a declaration they meet the legislated criteria to receive and cast ballots. The forms are filled out by hand, which is what led to long lines and delays.
Something wrong with what they've changed. Why they've changed it, I don't know. They think it's for the better. I think they've got it wrong.
I've voted here for 25 years for different elections over the years, and this is the first time I've ever actually waited outside that I had to, wait like almost an hour in line. So yeah, it's a little disappointing, but it's a civic duty and I want to do it, so I'm going to wait.
If you make lineups insane or things not work, it feels like they don't want you to vote. or whoever's in charge doesn't want you to vote.
This time around, the counting of votes has to be done by hand because the province has banned the use of electronic tabulators. Not only does counting votes by hand take more time, it's also adding over $3 million to the cost of the election. Now, in a statement to CTV News, the Minister of Municipal Affairs says he blames municipalities for voting and counting delays because there was ample warning and they had time to prepare in advance. Now, it also says that legislation and regulations are reviewed after every election, and so they will take a second look after this round to see if any changes or improvements need to be made. Tara.
Okay, Stephanie, thank you. We are joined in studio tonight by Lori Williams, political scientist from Mayoral University, and our Jordan Canagan, of course, the CTV News Municipal Affairs reporter. So, Lori, as we start to see these initial numbers coming in, we don't yet know specifically sort of what corners in the city they're coming from, but we're seeing how close the numbers are for Calgary Mayor. And this really could, with only 45% of polls reporting, they're so close, 1,300 votes apart, this could still really, there's time for this to shift.
Absolutely. It's a really close race. The polls predicted that it would be close. The other thing that really strikes me is with a relatively low voter turnout here, probably somewhere in the 20% range, possibly as high as 30, because I don't know what the total is. We're talking about somebody winning potentially about 30% of that low voter turnout, almost as low as we saw in 2004, which is the lowest one I have on record. That's a tough mandate to carry forward. And so there's going to be a lot of pressure, not just on the mayor, but on council to try to work together and respond to those Calgarians that were confused, dissatisfied, looking for solutions to tough problems.
Now, speaking of that, Council Jordan, you're down there covering council every day for us. We're going to see a brand new council because we know there's going to be at least 8 new councillors. There could be 9 new faces there, depending on who becomes mayor tonight.
There's going to be a lot of new faces, as you just pointed out, and it's going to be difficult for whoever becomes mayor, as Lori just pointed out. They are going to have a mandate of likely less than 30% of voters in a total voter turnout that is also quite low. How are they going to navigate that? There is a lot that these new councillors will have to go through and learn over the next several weeks, over the next several months. I spoke to one councillor who was a rookie in 2021, and they talked to me about it being kind of like a fire hose of information and trying to drink water out of a fire hose. It is a lot that they have to go through over the next several weeks, whoever is elected. And then they have to get right into things and eventually pass a budget next month. So it is going to be a lot of new faces on this new council, whoever it may be, and the mayor, whoever that may be, will have a pretty low mandate to do the type of work that they've been platforming for the last several months.
Now, I'm sure we're going to talk about this a little more in depth later, but this is also the first year that we are seeing parties at the municipal level, and we have a lot of the candidates running representing specific parties, and that's going to be a challenge potentially for the new mayor as well. For instance, if they ran as an independent but may have a slate of councillors who are now deciding to vote together on issues, now you have that to wrangle as well.
Yeah, one additional challenge. I think leadership is going to be very difficult for whoever the successful candidate is. It'll be a real test of their leadership skills, but I think both the low voter turnout, the number of people that were looking at more than one, sometimes 2 or 3 candidates as their choices in this election, just shows the ambivalence and the confusion around what parties A represent and B what they can do. I mean, we saw recently 2 members of Communities First bring forward a motion on the climate emergency, and one of them voted against it subsequently. So what do parties mean if you can co-sponsor a motion and then vote against it? I think there's just a whole lot of confusion around that. And I would hope that the message that they get is that Calgarians are very much concerned about having their issues, their concerns, them as individuals and as communities represented, and not represented as of either ideology or party.
Certainly, Mayor Gondek said she was running as an independent. She thought this was the kiss of death, actually, for municipal politics. What kind of feedback were you getting from Calgarians in your coverage throughout the election campaign? What were they telling you about whether they were even aware of who these parties were, what it meant to them? Were they interested in voting for parties at a municipal level?
Well, I think the whole idea of municipal parties, according to the provincial government, was to provide some type of clarity, some type of understanding on what these councillors and what these candidates are standing for. But what I found in speaking to a lot of voters out there at the polls was a lot of confusion. They didn't really know what these parties stood for. They didn't know exactly what these parties would mean after the election. How much will they still exist when there is a council and when they are sworn in? Speaking to some members of Communities First, they say, we are going to be voting for, if we are elected, with what our wards want. And we saw that with Terry Wong, as Lori talked about, with the declaration of the climate emergency and the possibility of rescinding that. He listened to his constituents in his ward rather than listening to his party. So where will that accountability be? How much, to what extent will these parties really exist was, I think, a big point of confusion for a lot of voters as they looked at making their decision.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, let's take a look at the Calgary numbers coming in again. 54% of polls reporting at this hour. Jeremy Farcus still in the lead. He is about 1,000 votes ahead of Sonia Sharp. Sonia Sharp, of course, hoping to go from councillor to mayor tonight. She has been one who is also embracing the new party rules, running under the Communities First banner. Alicia Fielberg is at Sharp headquarters tonight. Alicia Sharp and the Communities First candidates received a rare endorsement from the police union during this campaign.
Yes, and Sonia Sharp pledged to recruit 500 new officers to Calgary Police Service. Vesna, you're the policy advisor for Communities First. How do you think that pledge and the endorsement from the police union made a difference in the campaign?
Yeah, we heard a lot of positive feedback on it, and I think it's a testament to Sonia's last 4 years as councillor and the work she's done with our frontline officers, as well as just hearing from Calgarians that they don't feel safe anymore in the city and there needs to be a change, and we need to do something bold to ensure that change is going to happen.
And this is the first year that Alberta has allowed parties in municipal politics in Calgary.
Yeah.
Why did you go that route for Communities First for Sonia and the team?
Yeah, I mean, it's a new thing to try and navigate, but I think hearing that Calgarians want change and finding a team of like-minded candidates that all agree on our core principles has really benefited us in the way that voters know that they vote Communities First, and Sonia Sharp, there'll be change on council.
And it's really close right now.
Yeah, it is. We were expecting it to be really close, so we're here for the long haul. We're expected to be here late night, so yeah, just keep refreshing our computers here.
Even though the order has Sonia in second, how are you feeling?
Good. I mean, I think we're just hit over half of the polls, so we still have another half to go. So I think there's a lot of time for some more movement in the polls for sure.
Excellent. So optimism here. And of course, it's not just Sonia Sharp here. It is the other candidates. There are 9 councillor candidates here, including 3 incumbents. That is Dan McLean, Andre Chabot, and Terry Wong. And they have a platform of repealing blanket rezoning and keeping taxes low. Tara?
Okay, Alicia Fielberg reporting. Thank you, Alicia. We're going to take a short break, but we will be right back with more municipal election results. Stay with us. Of election 2025. Here are the latest results from the mayor's race tonight. 54% of polls reporting Jeremy Farcus sitting in the lead with about 54,000 votes. Sonia Sharp in second. She is sitting by about 1,000 votes behind, and Jyoti Gondek, the incumbent mayor, sitting in third place tonight. Now, we also have some results from races for City Council in Calgary. Now, only ballots cast today are being counted tonight. The advance votes for council will be counted tomorrow. So let's take a quick run through the wards. This is Sonia Sharp's ward, Ward 1, Joey Nowak sitting in the lead right now. 8% of polls reporting there. In Ward 2, this is Jennifer Wyness. We'll get to her in just a moment. She is looking to be re-elected in Ward 2, and she is currently sitting in the lead. 8% of polls reporting there. Ward 3 is wide open. This was Jasmine Meehan's riding. That's just our second bunch of candidates in Calgary Ward 2 tonight. Moving on to Ward 3, Jasmine Meehan decided not to run again. Andrew Yule sitting in the lead tonight with about 10% of polls reporting there in Calgary Ward 3. This is one of the wards that has 8 candidates running, so a lot of people running in Ward 3 hoping to replace Jasmine Meehan there. In Ward 4, this is also a wide open race. Sean Chu decided not to run again. DJ Kelly lost in 2021 by 100 votes to Sean Chu. He is only trailing by 95 votes in that ward right now. Raj Dhaliwal, the incumbent in Ward 5, seeking re-election there tonight and in the lead there with about 8% of the polls reporting in Calgary Ward 5. 6 candidates running there. Turning to Ward 6 now, this is also an open ward. This was Richard Pootman's ward, and he retired due to family reasons. And so this has no incumbent, in Amtasia from the Calgary Party, currently sitting in the lead there. Not too many polls reporting yet, only 3% of polls reporting so far in Ward 6. In Ward 7, this is Terry Wong's ward. He is the incumbent there and the community's first candidate running in Ward 7. He is trailing there tonight, just over 10% of polls reporting, sitting about 500 votes behind in Ward 7 there tonight. Ward 8 is another ward that is wide open. This was Courtney Walcott's ward. He too has decided he does not wish to run again. About 9% of polls reporting in Ward 8. Nathaniel Schmidt currently leading by about 800 votes there in Ward 8. Kent Hare, a well-known name running there in Ward 8, along with Gary Bobrovitz. In Ward 9, another open race. This is Giancarlo Carra's former ward. He is not running after 4 terms. Perhaps the most well-known person in terms of name recognition in that ward is Gargar, and he is in the lead there tonight in Ward 9 with, again, just 9% of polls reporting. In Ward 10, this is Andre Chabot. He is a 20-year politician in Calgary. He is also a community's first representative for that party. He is the incumbent there, and he is in the lead well ahead, about 11% of polls reporting in Ward 10. In Ward 11, this is Courtney Penner's ward. She's a one-term councillor. She is seeking re-election, but she is trailing so far, about 21% of polls reporting. Rob Ward is about 5,000 votes ahead there right now in Ward 12. Ward 13, this is Dan McLean coming up here. He is a one-term councillor. He is another community's first candidate, the incumbent there, and he is leading by about 1,600 votes over the Calgary Party candidate, Elliot Weinstein. And in Ward 14, yet another open ward, no incumbent, Peter Demong deciding not to run there. Again, just 7% of polls reporting. Landon Johnson currently in the lead. You may remember that name. He is the person who was petitioning against Jyoti Gondek. All right, well, Tyson Fedor is at the Gondek headquarters tonight. Tyson, mayoral results so far showing the incumbent Gondek behind Jeremy Farcus and Sonia Sharp tonight.
Taryn, good evening to you. Yes, you are correct. Jyoti Gondek sitting in 3rd place in the mayor race at this point. We're actually awaiting her arrival here at the Palomino downtown, as she is expected to give a speech to supporters and staff and family and friends here in the next few minutes or so. We're expecting potentially around 11:30. She will be at the podium just over my shoulder behind us as she will make her way into her party here, campaign party. We haven't seen her this evening, but we're expected she will be coming through the door any moment now. Of course, the word optimism has been thrown around from campaign staff here this evening as these results have rolled in. 13,000 or so votes. Jyoti Gondek sits behind leader Jeremy Farcus. So at this point, a lot going on for the campaign. Jyoti Gondek, the first female mayor elected here in Calgary back in 2021. But if she does lose this evening, she will be the first incumbent to lose the race since 1980. That's 45-year record could be broken this evening. So that's where things stand. It's fairly quiet here. Earlier today, as many people saw across the country, the Toronto Blue Jays won. That was probably the loudest cheer we've heard here this evening. So at this point, pretty tense to say the least among staff and supporters at this stage of this race. But as we mentioned, Jyoti Gondek will be coming here to the Palomino in the next several minutes. We will bring that speech that she does give to supporters to you. So right now we're just standing by for that at this time. Tara?
Okay, Tyson, thank you for that. We appreciate it. Let's go back to our panel here in studio. Laurie Williams here, political scientist at MRU, and our Jordan Canagan. Jordan, Jyoti Gondek was the city's first female mayor. She may now be the first mayor who loses after one term in 40 years.
There's still a lot of ballots to be counted, but you're absolutely right. If these numbers hold and if these trends continue, she would be the first incumbent mayor in Calgary to be defeated since the 80s, since Ralph Klein did it to defeat an incumbent mayor. And I think that does speak to some of the want from Calgary voters for change in this. We saw polling throughout the last 4 years, whether it was for the mayor or for council as a whole, and they did not have a very high popularity when it comes to some of those polling results. We do know that there were a lot of people that were not happy with Jyoti Gondek and her emergency climate declaration basically in the first several months of her mayorship. Blanket rezoning and her championing of that was not very popular when it came to the broader public and people who came out to City Hall for weeks and weeks of public hearings. This could be just showing that Calgarians wanted change in this. If these numbers hold, it would be pretty significant to see an incumbent mayor in Calgary be defeated.
Laura, I was trying to find the number here because I knew I wrote it down earlier. In 2024, Jyoti's approval rating was 26%, which was extremely low. But council was not much higher. I think it was 33% in that poll. And yet the two people running ahead of her are a former councillor and a former councillor.
Yep, exactly. So incumbency, I think, and that's part of why I think we're seeing low voter turnout, not a lot of enthusiasm for any particular candidate this time around, is because of that incumbency. Each of these people, except for Brian Thiessen, has a record to defend, and people have a lot of concerns about the votes that these former councillors or current councillors have cast on council. I think for Jyoti Gondek in particular, communication was something that she didn't manage as well in the early stages. I mean, she's done very respectably, still in third place here, but it is a challenging time to be an incumbent. I think generally speaking, we look at elections around the world and we see a lot of governments, mayors, et cetera, being defeated.
Former councillor, of course, Jeff Davison is also vying for mayor. He ran for the position last time around, coming in third overall. Our Mark Villani is at the Davison headquarters tonight. And Mark, his team was hoping to make a push amongst the undecided voters, which according to polls was around 34%. It was very high, but perhaps that just wasn't the case.
Yeah, that was a really big push from Davison's campaign. I'm joined by Jeff right now. Jeff, you put together a very promising campaign. We talked about a 4-year property tax freeze as well as a public safety task force. How do you think that your campaign resonated with voters at the end of the day?
You know, at the end of the day, we listened to what Calgarians were telling us, and they care about affordability, they care about public safety, and I certainly hope the new council takes those things away and actually acts on them.
A little bit about that final push for votes. We talked about voter turnout being a key part of this campaign. I know you had a drone show over the weekend. How do you think that went for you? And what do you think the reaction of Calgarians is to something like that as well? Yeah.
Guerrilla marketing at its finest, right? You know, sometimes when you want to stand out from a crowd, do something different. So we're proud that we did the first ever politically driven drone show in Canada.
A little bit about what might be next for you, Jeff. I understand that you were a strong member of the Prostate Cancer Center. What's next for you on the campaign trail after this?
Yeah, literally that. I think a vacation is in order at some point here, and just returning to work and just continuing to make the push happen so that we focus on the 24,000 plus men in our province that face cancer every year.
Do you have any final message you want to send to this upcoming council here as well? Any message of support or a challenge to them as well?
You know, I just really hope that they're able to bring people together and find the common ground. I think, you know, City Council has been so dysfunctional for so long that I really do hope that there is a push for direction, and hopefully we have a leader who can bring people together, and we'll see where we go from there.
Well, thank you very much, Jeff. We really appreciate you taking some time. Congratulations on a well-run campaign. Jeff Davison, we will be following up with you as you continue with your endeavors. Thank you so much. Back to you.
Okay, Mark, thank you. We're going to take a short break now. Stay with us. We'll be right back with more municipal election results. Welcome back. Jeremy Farcus certainly jumped out to an early lead tonight in the mayor's race. Terry Fikowski is at the Farcus headquarters tonight. Terry.
Hi, Tara. Jeremy Farcus just walking in and going to join us here. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for having me.
So I know that we're still seeing the polls come in, but how are you feeling right now this close in the race?
Well, I just wanted to give a big shout out to everyone out there working the election. I know they're working their butts off to get us the results as quickly as they can. A big thank you to all the Calgarians who engaged in the process, and, you know, shout out to all the other campaigns as well. I know how hard it is to stand as a candidate myself. I know all of the work that's put in volunteering all across all of these campaigns. So again, a giant thank you to Calgarians.
A little too close for comfort right now?
Well, we're pushing hard. We're seeing great numbers behind the scenes, and we're gonna be here as long as it takes to hopefully get the results tonight.
And you have been here before, so what do you think is resonating more with Calgarians to mark you down on their ballot box compared to 2021?
Well, I think Calgarians have recognized that our campaign was the only one that could unseat a sitting mayor, but also stop a political party takeover of City Council. So Calgarians have expressed to us a desire for a safer, more affordable city, one where we continue to be welcoming, full of opportunity, and that's really the positive vision that we've been putting forward. So really stoked to be here with friends, family, many people who are in this room supporting me 10 years ago. 10 years ago. But still, along the way, the team has only grown bigger and bigger each time. So I'm just so grateful to be here in the room with friends, family, everybody else.
I don't want us to get ahead of ourselves, but if things prove to be successful, you've campaigned on a lot of things from safety, housing, but what would be number one? What would people, you know, wake up tomorrow and can expect from you as mayor if, of course, it goes that way?
Well, our campaign platform is really focused on safety. It's around affordability, repealing blanket rezoning, replacing that with a housing policy that makes sense for Calgarians. But the deeper issue is listening to Calgarians, ensuring that Calgarians see themselves reflected. Yes, we need listening to Calgarians, but also just building the team of council, right? And a big reason I've chosen to run as an independent is that so that I can represent Calgarians across the political spectrum so that we can actually get things done. So job number one for the mayor is going to have to be building that team. 14 members of council, all incredible leaders in their own right from every single corner of the city. We got to pull in the same direction so that we can make Calgary the safe, affordable city that we know that we can be.
This is the quietest I've heard the room all night. They're all being very patient, so I will let you get to your supporters. Thank you so much.
Well, thank you so much.
Appreciate it.
I so appreciate it.
See how it works out.
Thank you.
All right, Sarah, we'll send it back to you in studio, but Jeremy Farcus deciding to come up. He was in the basement as these results were trickling in, but wanted to address voters. Of course, still too early to call in a close race, but feeling cautiously optimistic, as we just heard.
Okay, good stuff, Terry. Thank you for that. Certainly, Sonia Sharp is in the thick of it tonight. She is not that far behind Jeremy Farcus. Alicia Philberg is at Sharp headquarters, where the Community First candidates have also gathered. Alicia.
I'm with Andre Chabot, who is the candidate for Ward 10 from Communities First. And Andre, I know there's still a lot of votes left to count yet tonight, but how are you feeling so far about your ward and about the mayoral candidate, Sonia Sharp?
My ward, I was really uncomfortable leading up to today, and today I've started to get some numbers in, and I feel pretty comfortable now that I think my chances are quite good. I think Sonia's in a tight race right now, and I think part of the issue, of course, is It was last minute kind of campaigning, especially for the incumbents, because we didn't really have a lot of time to prepare in advance, and low voter turnout. Bill 18 has created a lot of challenges insofar as the process. It actually turned away a lot of people, I think, at this election, and so I think the net resultant is it's skewing the numbers.
Yeah, let's talk a little bit more about that low voter turnout. How do you think that's going to play out with what the new council is going to look like, and what do you think can be done to change that for future years?
Well, I mean, there was a lot of concern about the risk associated with the process that existed in the past. And I think if there's risk associated with a process, then you audit the system. You don't do a wholesale change to it and go back to something that's almost archaic in its process. And because of that, it's caused so much delay that a lot of people were just like, you know what, I don't have time, I'm just going to go home. I know some people that left and came back only to leave again and then come back. And in a couple instances I saw them, they actually came back too late. The doors had already closed. So we lost a lot of votes. We lost a lot of potential voters, regardless of which way they were going to vote. Ultimately, we want a high voter turnout. This did not accomplish that.
Yes, well, thanks so much for chatting. That's Andre Chabot, who is one of the 9 candidates under Communities First that are running for councillor tonight. Tara?
Okay, Alicia, thank you. Well, let's look around the province a little bit. Elections Lethbridge is not expecting to release any results tonight. Like the rest of the province, all ballots for mayor, council, and school board are being counted by hand. The city says it is a very slow process, but we do have some results in the race for mayor in Medicine Hat. So incumbent Lindsay Clark trying to win a second term there. She's had a bit of a rocky go in her first term. She is leading tonight, about 24% of polls reporting there. Now, Airdrie is going to have a new mayor tonight. At the moment, Heather Spearman is leading that race. 75% of polls reporting, and she is leading by about 700 votes in the race for mayor in Airdrie. 6 candidates running in that race there. 7 candidates running in the race for mayor in Airdrie tonight. In Brooks, Norm Garriston is leading the race by about 700 votes over Joel Goodnow, 50% of polls reporting there. In Canmore, Sean Krausert, who is the incumbent mayor, 100% of the polls are reporting, so we are declaring Sean Krausert the mayor of Canmore this evening. In Chestermere, Shannon Dean also reclaiming the mayor's chair. Here, he is the incumbent there, 100% of polls reporting now in Chestermere. And in Innisfail, Jean Barkley, the incumbent mayor, winning again with 100% of polls reporting. In Red Deer County, new mayor there, Brett Ramsey, the new mayor leading by about 750 votes. And in Taber, the incumbent mayor, Andrew Prokop, has reclaimed the chair, 100% of polls reporting there. And in Claresholm, the mayor, Brad Schlossberger, winning again. Crow's Nest Pass mayor, Patricia Ann Rippian, has been declared mayor in the Crow's Nest Pass. And in Drumheller, Tony Migles is leading the race. About 44% of polls reporting there, and he is about 117 votes ahead. In Penhold, Mark Yargo, the incumbent mayor, has won another term, and in Redcliffe, Chris Zember is leading half the polls reporting so far in Redcliffe tonight. Let's bring our panel back in. We have Laurie Williams from Mayoral, and we have our Jordan Canagan with us. Let's talk a little bit about Jeremy Farcus. So we heard from him tonight and what he feels he has done well. What do you think he has done well since he was last on council to capture the imagination, the promise of Calgarians for him to win tonight?
Yeah, he has kept himself sort of out in the world. Social media, lots of media appearances, connecting with the community. He's been doing that for the last 4 years. By contrast to Jeff Davison, who was trying to sort of revive the recognition that he had from 4 years ago, in terms of his messaging, was quite strong. But Jeremy Farcus did 2 things. He kept his name sort of in people's imaginations on all kinds of platforms for the last 4 years. But the other thing is his big message is that he has changed because he listened. And that idea that he's going to listen to voters seems to really resonate in that room. And it certainly has won over a lot of Calgarians. The question is, does he have the leadership to manage what's looking like increasingly to be a challenging council.
You have been covering council for years, Jordan. He was, I think we can safely say, I'm not saying it to be mean, but he was the thorn in Mayor Nenchi's side for many years. And now he is going to be the one in the big chair having to try to coordinate 14 people perhaps with different interests.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, he was almost the quasi-opposition for 4 years on council, and we heard it many, many times. Anyone who was listening to his campaign or who was paying attention over the course of this campaign heard him say, over the last 10 years, Calgary has changed, and so has he. What we will find out if these results hold and if this is trending towards a Jeremy Farcus becoming the next mayor, how exactly has he changed? He talked about wanting to unite this council, which, as we've talked about, is going to be a difficult job, is going to be very difficult when we look at different parties that are in there, a lot of rookie councillors. So who will this Jeremy Farcus as mayor be if these results hold? Because he was somebody who really rocked a lot of boats when he was in council. He went on, he lost in 2021 in his run for mayor. He went on that Pacific Coast Trail hike, of course, that was well publicized. He said that he has changed. What we will find out over the next few years, I guess, if he is elected, is in what way has he changed?
You had another thought there, Lori?
Just, you mentioned that he was a thorn in Mayor Nenchi's side. Well, they've become friends since then, right? Jeremy Farcus has, I think, moderated a number of his views, and he's pretty much an equal opportunity critic. He's willing to call out things that he sees regardless of the partisan affiliation of folks. And I think that's generated a fair bit of credibility for him.
We did hear Sonia Sharp throughout the campaign saying Farcus 2021 is very different from Farcus 2025, but perhaps that is exactly the point he was trying to make, and that has resonated with Calgarians.
Yeah. I think that's true.
Okay. Well, we're going to take a short break. Stay with us. We have much more municipal election coverage still to come. You are looking at a live room at the Palomino Smokehouse tonight where we are waiting for Jyoti Gondek to speak. That is where her party is gathering this evening. She is just being introduced and coming up on stage. She is sitting third in the race for Calgary Mayor tonight.
Thank you. Thank you for being here, everybody. Good evening. It is beautiful to look out at all of your gorgeous faces tonight. This didn't end up the way that we had all hoped, but I'm standing here very proud of what we have built together, and I'm profoundly grateful for the privilege of having served this incredible city, the best city in the world. I am also proud to have run a campaign that was built on optimism and believing that politicians can still be grounded in goodness and solutions and respect for one another. Honestly, I couldn't be more proud of the team that stood beside me, that embraced this vision and made it possible for many, many others across the city to hear and believe in what Calgary can become. So to every volunteer, every donor, every supporter who gave their time, their energy, and their heart, sincerely, I thank you. You've reminded this city that decency and determination still matter. And to my family, to Todd and Justice and my mom, thank you very much for your love, and thank you so much for your patience while I did all the heavy work of leading this city. I couldn't have done this without all of you. And to the people of Calgary, this incredible city, thank you so much for having given me the opportunity and the great honor to be the mayor. It has been honestly the greatest privilege of my life. I look back at those 4 years and I think of everything we have accomplished. And when Alice talks about that housing strategy, my goodness, we fought hard to implement that, and we are better because we stood together as a council and said we can do so much to ensure that everyone in our city can live with dignity. And that was one of the greatest victories for the people of this city. I will offer my congratulations to the winner and their team once we have a final result. Campaigns are tough, and both of the frontrunners should be very proud of their accomplishments. Leading the city is going to be hard work, and I wish whoever the winner is success in taking on that responsibility. And I want to say, Calgary, the world is watching us, and what they will continue to see is a city that is full of innovation, compassion, and heart. Our job now is to move forward together, to stay positive, and to attract opportunity and show the best of who we are. And even though tonight marks the end of this campaign, it is certainly not the end of my work here in this city. I love Calgary. There's absolutely no doubt about that. We have come through so much together, and I have no doubt that our city's best days are still ahead. So thank you, Calgary. Thank you, everyone in this room, for your kindness, for your trust, and for believing in what's possible. I will always believe in you, in our people, in our promise, and in the power of this city and the strength of its people. Calgary, thank you so much. It has been an absolute honor to serve you. Thank you.
You've been listening to Jyoti Gondek deliver her concession speech at the Palomino Hotel tonight, a very gracious speech. She came in third. We still do not know who will be the new mayor tonight. As we mentioned a few minutes ago, Jordan, she was Calgary's first female mayor. She is also the first mayor to be unseated after one term. In her 4 years, there were some major issues, and the most recent one that I think people will remember and perhaps point to if they have frustrations would be the blanket rezoning.
And she'd mentioned it there that one of the things she is most proud of is the work that they did on their Housing First strategy. We will see as the two candidates who are neck and neck, Jeremy Farcus and Sonia Sharp, when they take over, one of them is going to change that Housing First strategy quite significantly. In Sharp's case, if she wins, her and her party have promised to repeal blanket rezoning completely. Jeremy Farcus has talked about working on that, working with neighborhoods and trying to fix that and repealing it and replacing it with something else. So it's interesting to hear that she brought that up in her concession speech in talking about that Housing First strategy. And that was something that is going to be changing quite significantly over the next several months as they try to get the support on council to try to do that.
Lori, what do you think former Mayor Gondek's wins were in her 4 years?
I would say actually she's made the biggest win. I would say is just the lesson she's learned in terms of communication. She's not a natural politician, kind of shy, introverted, tougher for folks like that to succeed. But she seems to have learned a fair bit about communication, perhaps too little, too late over those years. The thing I think she talked about most persuasively, and of course there were so many debates and forums, was the investment that she brought into the city, the initiatives that she was part of moving forward on, and frankly her ability to manage to get things done with a pretty deeply divided council. We heard about the divisions and the votes where people disagreed. But she seemed to be able to reach across those divisions in some cases more successfully than you would have expected. So I think there's a lot of credit due to her in a really difficult time for the lessons that she learned. The adjustments she even made to the housing policy over time. They amended it a number of different times. But bottom line, I think that it was a bit too little too late.
Okay, well, we have Sonia Sharp speaking now. She's in a very close battle with Jeremy Farcus for mayor. Let's listen in.
Sonia, considering the polls have been so close all night, multiple times there came moments where you almost overtook Farcus. How are you feeling about going into tomorrow morning for these counts to continue?
You know what? It's not over, and I'm going to remain optimistic and I think Calgarians know exactly which direction they need the city to go, so I'm going to remain hopeful.
Why do you think Calgarians reject it? What do you think it is about your campaign that has struck a chord with so many Calgarians?
I think the one thing that is struck a chord with Calgarians is I've listened. I'm repealing blanket rezoning, I'm adding to public safety, and I'm going to bring strong change to the governance at City Hall. And, I'll just say one thing is I've been on council 4 years. I've been on the right side with the citizens of Calgary on everything they've wanted, and I fight for change, and I won't stop fighting until I know that we need to get the city back on the right track.
How will Calgary remember 4 years of Jody Gondek?
Sorry?
How will Calgary remember 4 years of Jody Gondek?
I would say that I think Calgarians are reflecting back on the 4 years and knowing that it wasn't probably the direction they want to go moving forward, and saying, we gave her a chance, but this is a different election, this is a different city, and it's time to move forward.
And considering, a lot of the polls being reported has been relatively low voter turnout.
Yeah.
If you end up being elected mayor, how do you plan on bringing council together to move Calgary forward?
What I'll say is, that is the job of the mayor, to bring council together and to move all the things we need to move forward when it comes to representing Calgarians. But what I will say is, your civic election is the most important thing that affects your life. So I know there was probably a lower turnout this year than it has in the past, but I would really encourage Calgarians moving forward, make sure you get out to vote. It is so critical, and because you can see how close an election can be, and a couple votes here and there totally sway, but if we have higher turnout, things could be different. And so I will continue to, be positive the next couple hours and hope that I am the mayor standing out here tomorrow and addressing you again, but in a different atmosphere, I guess.
The numbers between you and Farcus are so close right now, and you seem to take aim at him during the debates.
Yeah.
Did you expect that he was going to be your biggest opponent all along?
I did. A year ago, when I decided I was going to run for mayor, I had someone say to me, Jeremy Farcus is going to be your biggest competition. And I said, sure, bring it. And I will do my best to represent myself and communities first, and I did. I feel like, and so it's not over. So we'll see what happens. I don't know what's happening with all the other polling numbers, so I'm not quite sure. And I really think that, Calgarians got out to vote for the individuals. I don't know how much the party stuff played into this. I think there was a lot of, obviously narrative around it. We built a party of communities first because we know it takes 8 votes to get things done. And so, again, we won't know those results till tomorrow as well. So that'll be something to talk about after. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
You have been listening to Sonia Sharp, hoping to be mayor by tomorrow. So is Jeremy Farcus. They are neck and neck in the race still tonight. Let's take a look at some of the latest numbers from Calgary City Council races. We'll go through the wards now. This is Ward 1. So this was Sonia Sharp's ward, which of course she is left to run for mayor. Joey Nowak from the Calgary Party leading right now in Ward 1. Turning to Ward 2, Jennifer Wyness is the incumbent councillor there, and she is leading by about 1,000 votes. Still only 17% of polls reporting there. In Ward 3, there is no incumbent here. This was Jasmine Meehan's ward. At the moment, Andrew Yule is leading by nearly 2,000 votes. Turning to Ward 4, there is also no incumbent here. This was Sean Chu's ward. DJ Kelly is leading from the Calgary Party. He lost this race by only 100 votes in 2021. Incumbent Raj Dhaliwal leading in Ward 5 by about 1,000 votes. In Ward 6, this is also an open race. Richard Pootmans is not running again at the moment. John Pantazopoulos is in the lead by about 1,000 votes. Turning to Ward 7 now, this is incumbent Terry Wong's riding. All right, we're going to stop right there. We'll come back to some of these riding races, but Jerry Farcus is speaking. Let's listen in.
On the dysfunctional rights, and they said it couldn't be done, but we're getting it done. Before we begin, I just want to open up with a personal story. So my dad is in the audience today. I wanted to acknowledge my dad, my mom, my entire family who's here, but for a very specific reason. I remember almost 10 years ago, I thought about running for city councillor. It was probably the stupidest thing that I could have ever done, wanting to quit my job to run for public office, feeling like I didn't have a city hall or a city council that was representing me and the concerns that I had in my community around taxes, around affordability, around transparency. When I thought about running for city council, I reached out to who I thought were the top 100 people in the city. And it was a very simple email that I sent out. And it was called Request for Mentorship. Was the subject title. It was a cold call for all 100 of these people. And inside the body of it was, hey, I'm Jeremy. I'm thinking of running for office. Could you give me some advice? I sent 100 emails, and I got 5 back. One of the 5, however, was an amazing leader at the University of Calgary. She spent a lot of time with me, sitting down, providing her feedback, her thoughts on what it's like to be on the Planning Commission, what it's like to be working in a councillor's office, what it's like to represent Calgarians. And it was a lot of that first initial thoughts and mentorship and advice that I got that was such an instrumental piece and inspiration for me to want to run for office. So I did. It was several years later that I was a rookie city councillor, very much the dog who got the car, drinking out of the fire hose. And I remember it was in the first couple months that I was on council, trying to struggle managing life with my partner, with family, the dynamic of working a 60 to 70 hour a week job. And it couldn't have happened at a worse time, but my father fell ill and he had a stroke. And I remember the time that I had to spend all of a sudden having to no longer be able to attend certain council committee meetings, not be able to reply to all the emails that I was getting in my Ward 11 office. And I felt in those moments incredibly overwhelmed. But there was again that same person that I had reached out to thinking of running for office. I reached out to her again and she said, "Don't worry, JF, I've got your back. If you need help with anything, I am here." And she was a big part of why I was able to succeed in that first year of being a city councillor, because she was also a city councillor. She was Jody Gondek. And despite the fact that she and I may have disagreed on certain issues, we may not have seen the politics the same way, and despite the fact that ultimately we both ran for mayor in the last election and I was ultimately unsuccessful, she continued to step up for me.
You are listening to Jeremy Farcus tonight. We do not know who the next mayor of Calgary is going to be at this hour. It is still too close to call. Laurie Williams here from Mayoral University and our Jordan Canagan. Laurie, they're only 1,000 votes apart. I don't think anyone expected it would be this close this late in the night.
No, and of course, we may not even know by 1 o'clock when they finish the counting. Now, the polls have shown that that the top 3 candidates were pretty close throughout the campaign. But I think, again, it's important to note that close as they are, we're talking about maybe 30% of all of the votes cast that the winning candidate is going to get, and only about 30% of voters actually turned out to vote. That's a tricky thing to sell as a mandate. I think it's going to be a real challenge for the leadership of whoever it is that winds up winning.
We don't have results yet from our 14 wards, Jordan, but as we look at the results that are coming in, we can see that in 8 of the wards, the leading candidates are independent candidates. So it would seem as though this idea of running under a party banner has not engaged Calgarians perhaps the way these parties were hoping it would.
That was a big question, is would Calgarians accept or reject the idea of political parties? And so far, there's a lot of counting to do, but we are seeing, as you pointed out, that there are a lot of independents. But at the same time, we're still seeing in 3 of the races, the Calgary Party have candidates leading. In 3 of the races, the Community's First Party have candidates leading. Whoever is mayor, whether it's Jeremy Farcus or Sonia Sharp, how are they going to unite all of those different voices, listen to all of those different voices, and actually get stuff done?
Yeah, thank you both for being here with us tonight as we watch these results. Our election coverage will continue tomorrow. You can tune into Your Morning Calgary starting at 6 a.m. for more reaction and analysis. And tomorrow at 5 and 6 p.m., of course, we will have more results, especially from City Council. We're watching those races in Calgary. Thank you for joining us tonight. Have a terrific evening, and we'll see you again in the morning.